Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1454, written by AndrogynousRain. From pizza into a triangle UFO. Saw an actual UFO. Not some fuzzy balloon in the sky, the real thing. This was in the 90s. Working late at a pizza joint, we close and the boss heads out back for a cigarette. He comes running in yelling for me to come see something a couple of minutes later, so I run out back. And there's this big triangle floating in the sky. It's drifting overhead at walking speed, and it's absolutely, completely silent. Eerily so. One blue light on each corner, no engines or sound at all. I should probably mention that my dad is a pilot, and I grew up at air shows. I'd seen all kinds of aircrafts, F-17s and B-12s in flight at close range. This wasn't any of those things. It wasn't a plane. Planes don't float by and stop motionless in midair a couple hundred feet up with no sounds. This thing did. My boss was kind of freaked out. So this triangle just leisurely drifts over us and then stops. Just hangs in the air motionless. You could have heard a pin drop. 2 minutes go by. Then, with no change in orientation, this thing shoots up vertically about 10,000 feet in the blink of an eye, not so much as a noise. Then it accelerates faster than anything I've ever seen in the sky, far faster than an aircraft breaking the sound barrier, and flashes into warp or whatever the frick and vanishes. Holy crap, did we actually just see that? My boss exclaimed. Yes we did. And so did about 80 other people in town who called it in. Whatever it was, it didn't move, act, or sound like any airplane I've ever seen. Question sur file 1454. From pizza into a triangle UFO. Triangle-shaped UFOs appear most common in the reports I can find. But I think there are multiple design types, perhaps from different species. Why does it have to just be one species of alien, right? There could be more than one. The technology of these crafts strikes the biggest hit in my brain because it makes the story nevertheless incredible, even if it turns out to just be advanced military aircraft. For instance, to rise thousands of feet in a second, if that, with no sound. By our current laws of physics, this is impossible. First off, from the compression of the air creating a sonic boom, you'd hear that instantly. And secondly, the G-forces accelerating that fast would rip apart any ship constructed from any known materials instantly. It would just disintegrate, basically. So whatever tech is involved is capable of nullifying how we understand the current laws of physics, which is absolutely thrilling to me. There's so much yet to learn. If it's something the military already learned, or other aliens, it's still out there, ready to be discovered. Case file number 1455, written by BobertGnarley. The Unexplained Folded Fleece Freakout. It's the middle of fall, about 9 at night, a calm but crisp evening where you can see your breath. I live in an apartment complex, and it's time to take my little 11-pound terrier for his last walk of the night. I put his harness on, his coat on. It's basically a cylinder open on both ends for the neck and hips, an extra hole for front legs, and another very small hole around the shoulder blades for the harness clip to poke through, and it velcros across the tummy and chest, and clip his leash onto the harness. We go downstairs, and just outside the side exit is what used to be a tennis court, but now it's just grass and everyone uses it as a doggy area. The fence is still up and it's about 10 feet high, completely enclosing the area. The entrance is in the center of the closed long side. We get in, I close the gate, and my dog walks counterclockwise. I'm still holding his leash because it's dark out and he's dark, and along the far side there are branches from outside the fence that poke through, and sometimes he'll just lay down under some of them. So we walk half the distance close to lengthway, we walk the right short side, we walk the back long side with the branches. We walk the left short side, he's doing the perimeter tonight. So there are trees further away on the outside of this left side as well, and beyond those trees is the street. The streetlights are about 40 feet away, and the trees block most of the light, but a few streaks do reach the inside of the tennis court. We get to the close left corner, and the light is hitting something brown with woolly fluff on it. I look a bit closer. Hey bud, that looks just like your jacket. I look at my dog. He's not wearing his jacket? What? I look closer in the grass. It's his jacket, neatly folded in half. I know this isn't crazy spectacular, but this is easily the single most confusing moment of my life. For a few minutes afterwards, I felt queasy, like I was going to throw up because I couldn't process what just happened. How did his jacket get outside the fence? And folded. Case notes for file 1455. The Unexplained Folded Fleece Freakout. A DOP event caught almost directly in view. At some point in that walk, his jacket popped off, phased through the fence, and went out for its own walk. There is no explanation outside of a glitch in the Matrix. This simulation bugged out, or some divine force acting upon it to first remove it and then transport it without even being seen. That's incredible. It's almost like the memory of it happening was erased. Bonus file written by Approaching 77, The Supernatural Cocoa Plantation. When I was around 11 years old in the countryside, we went bird hunting often. One day, as I was preparing to go with an older friend, we were collecting marbles around the house. There's this tall tree stump standing in the cocoa plantation surrounding the house, about 150 feet away. It stood slightly higher than the cocoa trees and used to be home to many birds who made nests in it. The crown had broken off and it stood dead from the middle of the trunk to the root. We were having small talk as we gathered marbles. I stopped picking some marbles when he stopped responding to me. I stood up to see if he was there. Suddenly, a human-like face with very bright light radiating all around it sat on the stump that was staring directly at me. I shivered and got frozen. I fully understood what I was seeing and was very much afraid. However, I could not take a step away from where I stood. He was already caught up in it, that's why he wasn't responding to me. This whole thing lasted about 30 seconds. When I regained control of my body, I turned around to see if there was anyone and saw no one. When I turned back to look at it, whatever was there was gone. There was no sign of it ever being there. I know I was not hallucinating because the other guy was staring back just as I was, and I seemed frozen too. He stood a few feet to my right and ahead of me, so I could see him while I was staring at the face. He regained control exactly when I did. We were both terrified afterwards. He looked at me with confusion on his face while I stared back, hoping he would provide some explanation since he was older. He said nothing and I said nothing too. We both dropped the marbles we'd collected, went back inside, and never spoke about it between us or to anyone. There's no way anyone would hear this story and not call us crazy. Besides, both of us were too confused and terrified at the same time, we couldn't discuss it. Case notes for the bonus file. The Supernatural Cocoa Plantation. I wonder if spirits can concentrate their aura into a visual spectrum to appear so bright in one area, like their face. But if so, what was the goal here? Very weird. And now time for the joke of the day. Hear about the new restaurant called Karma? There's no menu. You just get what you deserve. I wonder what I would get. Maybe some candy? I'm pretty sweet. Yeah. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.